Hey guys, welcome to Prince of Peace Tarot. I'm Justin, and today I'll be doing a spirit reading for those of you with Sagittarius placements in your chart. So if you have Sagittarius anywhere within your chart, this reading could resonate with you. And if it does, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be updated anytime that I put out a reading. Okay guys, so before I jump into your spread, let's say a prayer. I praise the creator of all, supreme, omnipotent, and in all things. I praise all of the high and virtuous spirits who have walked the way of eternal light and love. I praise all of our ancestors from Mother Africa, who is the mother of the entire human race. I praise all of the spirits who died during slavery and the Middle Passage around the world, here in the United States, during Jim Crow, and today. Great Spirit family, since you are free of body and form, we know that you now have greater wisdom and greater power. We ask that you hear the call of your child and come protect us. Use your greater power and influence to help us solve our problems of money, health, family trouble, and racism. We ask that you somehow give us a sign that you are pleased with your children and that you are receiving our worship. Benevolent ancestors, open the gates of wealth to our people and guide us in the wisest and most effective ways to help all of Earth's children live harmoniously. Help us to remember we are part of the whole, part of God, part of each other. Ashe, ashe, ashe. All right, guys, let's jump into your spread. Let's start at the top of the deck. Your first card out, and I'm using the Threads of Fate Oracle deck, guys. The first card at the top of the deck is Boundaries. Boundaries. Okay, so let me get this for you. Boundaries. It's got this big hard shell. Okay, boundaries can be difficult, can be a difficult thing to master. Most people are not raised with a firm understanding of healthy boundaries and either end up being closed off or allow themselves to be invaded, or they become invading of others. It requires balance and knowing exactly what your needs are. This card asks you to check in with yourself and see where you live on the boundary spectrum. Do you have a healthy relationship with them? Do you struggle in communicating around them? Are there any patterns that continue to crop up around boundaries in your life? Okay, so there's an invading force, and it's funny, this reminds me of the Nine of Wands in the reading that I just posted. It's keeping your boundaries up while you're doing what you're doing. And it could be people that are coming around trying to pull you away and get your attention. And there could be people literally doing this on purpose, okay? So, you have to look at what you're allowing in and be firm. Be firm, because look, one of your cards in the spread is Strength, all right? We're gonna get to that, but be firm. Let your no be no, or we can do this at another time. Let it be your final answer, and don't let people manipulate you, because sometimes people will use things like, you should give money or allow me over because of X, Y, and Z. I need you, or your brother needs you. Your sister needs you. How can you not do da 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 da? Don't let anybody shame you into doing something you don't want to do. When people do that, that right there is crossing a boundary. It's manipulation. If I already stated my stance on a particular thing, and now you have something else to say to get me to do what I already said I wasn't going to do, then you're crossing a boundary. Okay? So sometimes we don't recognize that, especially when we're dealing with family, but it's time for you to stand firm against that, because now or you've known in the past, every time I let them get away with doing that, that I'm being manipulated or I'm being used in some kind of way. So remember your boundaries, okay, guys? Your card at the bottom of the deck is Shadow. Shadow. Okay, let me get Shadow for you. Shadow. Shadow says, this card indicates that diving deeper into your shadow at this time will be beneficial. It is through knowing our unconscious self that we find the root of our blocks, perceived limitations, and wounds, okay? It is also how we come to know ourselves in our totality. We cannot reach our true potential without meeting our shadow and working with the parts of ourselves that we have been told to lock away or be ashamed of. This includes brilliant aspects of ourselves too, not just perceived flaws. The truth is, your shadow is your greatest gift. And it is, guys, that's another reason why I wanted to start another channel, you know, the Tarotcast, the podcast, because, you know, when we're talking about spirituality and doing cards, you know, I want the highest and the best for you. And like I even mentioned, most readers do, but it's hard to talk about certain things without speaking from the shadow, from the lessons learned, from the way I used to feel, for the way I sometimes feel now. Okay. You know, and that's what you have to do for yourself. You can't lock away yourself to make yourself feel like I'm better now or I'm a good person now. Like that stuff I used to do in the past, you know, it never existed. It exists. It shaped you. It's actually driving you still, even though you think you got it in some faraway closet. It still has a place in your life. And unless you face it or come to terms with it, there's a schism that kind of happens with you, and you don't want that. And sometimes stuff will come out all on its own. So the thing that it told you is it's you facing your shadow is helping you find your blocks, perceive limitations and wounds. So the wounds need healing, blocks need to be removed, and you need to know that there are no limits. The only limits you have are the limits you set on yourself based on an experience, right? So it's time to pull the shadow out because it's your greatest gift. And the funny thing is, I think 2 readings ago, I was saying that how those bad experiences, whatever, if it was a relationship, something to do with your family, whatever it is, it's somehow supposed to be incorporated into your work. Your shadow is not a bad thing. Okay? And then even at this time where people are trying to test your boundaries, that could be a reason why your shadow is coming up. Like, why do I feel like I can't be strong right now? You know what I mean? Like, what's causing me to feel like I can't tell you no? You know, discover something about yourself as to like, why? Yeah, no, I said no. You know, what makes me fall into like a sexual temptation? Okay, because when I was looking at the Orisha spread, we had that King of Wands energy, we had female issue, but then we're looking at, you know, loneliness in the 9 of Earth, with loneliness with the 4 of Swords. Basically, I think it was like the 4. I can't remember what it's called, but it was really the 4 of Swords. But it was like loneliness driving me to do something negative or draw in something negative. But that loneliness is actually pulling that shadow part out of me, right? So all of this stuff is coming up for a reason, is to be looked at and not always to be acted upon. But again, they even said here that everything in the shadow isn't bad. Sometimes what's in the shadow is something brilliant. And some of you, whether you are brilliant at a particular subject, have a psychic ability, have put that in the shadow in order to fit in. You've turned your brilliance into shadow. So you're going to have to go in the shadows and pull it out. You know, so take some time and keep your boundaries so you can actually, you know, see yourself, all of yourself. Okay, let's get into the spread. You have the Observer, Strength, and Higher Perspective. And I don't know why, but I'm feeling the Hangman with this card, because the Hangman will not stop coming out in your tarot spread. So let's get the Observer. The Observer, it says 100. The Observer asks you to pause and simply pay attention. This may feel passive, but in observing, we already are cultivating change. The balanced observer intuitively knows when to be present and when to move. They watch, but they don't do it. They do not do so in a way that harms others. Many people may interpret them as apathetic. In reality, they understand that there is a time and a place for action. An unbalanced observer becomes too stagnant. They can see how everything functions, but do not believe that they are able to affect change, as they are only one person. Ooh, this card can be a form of bypassing, as they, bypassing, as they may be standing up. Excuse me, I'm going to read that again. It says, this can be a form of bypassing, as they may not stand up when it is needed. So this is following your intuition. Excuse me, guys. Because right next to Observer is Strength. So the very last sentence of this resonates more for me than anything. because this is what they're telling you. And this is another reason why shadow is here. Like, what could be killing your courage? What could be, making you so afraid? Because then you start bypassing. This can be a form of bypassing, as they may not stand up when it is needed. When we keep getting the judgment card saying, answer the call, okay? Time to wake up. Time to stand for what you believe in. Ooh, man. And to trust your intuition. Trust your intuition. Give me 1 sec, guys. Okay. You're gonna be able to figure your place out in the world. You just have to be able to stand in that place when it's shown to you. Okay? Yeah. All right. So strength. That 9 of Wands energy. Okay? That persevering, keep it moving. Let's get strength for you. Give me 1 sec. Okay, strength. This card indicates a time where you need to tap into your reserve of strength and resilience, okay? So yeah, after you get knocked down, you got to get back up. That's what resilience is all about. So there may be things coming up in your life right now that require your courage, okay? And the willingness to be uncomfortable. Our ability to adjust to any transition, loss, or change will depend on our patience in riding out the storm. Sometimes we have to do this without a map. Whatever is coming up for you right now, understand that it will pass, and you just need to believe that you can move through it, and you can. See, don't give in to difficult situations. They don't always progress and exist. They will end. Everything has its end, especially because I was seeing 999 in 2 different spreads for you. It was a bunch of 9s. So let these hard parts end, but be brave enough to start something new. You got to be brave. You cannot let all the shadows of the past and the bombarding people and thoughts that's trying to get through your boundaries, stop you from starting. And that's honestly what this could be. You could just be feeling a lot of resistance. And that's why strength is here. Resistance from your own mind, resistance from people who see you moving and trying to do something, and it's actually looking like it's looking up. But they want to stop you from doing that as well. You got to have strength, okay? So when we push past the 9 energy, being leaders, being determined, being resilient, we go to the 10, okay? We want to get to the 10. So higher perspective. All right, let me get this for you. Higher perspective says, as people who do their internal and spiritual work. Man, this is talking about internal, spiritual work, and shadow is at the bottom of the deck. Okay, talking about bringing out the shadow. So, hey, let's see what it says. It says, as people who do their internal and spiritual work, we are less likely to be bogged down by drama or reactiveness that we know doesn't truly matter. But being human means that there are times where we can't help it. Sometimes it is easy to stay in a higher perspective and see all the moving parts as they truly are. But sometimes life and the people around us are very good at sucking us into a space of limited vision, which is why we got boundaries at the top, right? Yeah, so this card is asking you to see whatever situation you are experiencing resistance from or resistance with from a higher perspective. See it from a higher perspective. And that's what I was just saying with strength. I just said that. I was saying right now you're experiencing a lot of resistance in yourself and from other people. Okay? And they want you to see it from a higher perspective. Why is this happening? What are these resistant energies telling me? And what I'm feeling is what they're telling you is you're about to make a breakthrough. You're going to make a breakthrough. So do not give up. Don't give up. Don't sit back passively. Okay, when your intuition says move, move. Have the strength to get over anxiety and mental conflict and people who want to do what? Cross my boundaries. Okay, to get to me to react, to pull me out of my steadfast energy. But get out of your comfort zones. We all got to get out of our comfort zones. I definitely do. One thing I keep saying I need to do and I don't do is I need to wake up earlier. Get up earlier, right? And don't be afraid of your shadow. Okay, it's only going to help you in the long run. It's so much to learn from those things. Okay, so many things you have, right? These gems that actually help you when you get faced with the same thing again. And not only that, if you were hiding actual brilliant parts of yourself, pull those things out. Things that I'll share, because there's one thing I used to, and I still do study, but I used to really get like grossly involved with learning new stuff, especially like ancient history. So back in college, I remember, we would have class all day and then we would come back to our dorms or whatever. And, sometimes I would watch a lot of Discovery Channel and Nat Geo. And one of my friends was like, "You're not done learning? How you gonna relax and still be learning?" But that's what I like to do. I love going down these little rabbit holes and reading and doing stuff like that. But I noticed from the time I had lost my job to going through certain bad relationships, my curiosity died down a lot. That was one of my fears when I was even starting my podcast. I remember like, damn, back in the day, you used to have a shit ton of things on your mind. Now you look like you don't give a fuck about nothing no more, right? So I have been rediscovering that curious part of me again and having it ignite and get excited about it. But I realized like I used to be more excited than I am now, but I think life just sort of was sucking the brightness, the curiosity out of me from one bad experience to the next. So sometimes, other ways to get around things like that is looking, like it says, looking from a higher perspective. Sometimes I could tap back into that by dissecting those negative things and studying why that happened to me. And then when I come to terms with that and I'm able to share that, that's one way I get back into my it's a good analytical way of looking at things, but then it allows me to move on to something different. So no longer do I need to analyze pain. Let's analyze and look at and research all of life, right? Tap back into something that all of the darkness, put down. Now I'm gonna lift it back out. So whatever your thing is that like I used to do that. I used to be really good at that, and life just took that away from me. Looking at your shadow is gonna be able to bring that thing back. Okay, it's gonna bring it back, and to see what caused me to stop doing it in the first place, and then to realize that thing is over, and I've learned what I learned from that, and now I can get back to doing what it is that I love as a person, my stuff. Okay, that's what I have for you guys. If this reading resonates, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be updated anytime that I put out a reading. If you want to book a personal reading with me, the link to book is in the description box below. Don't forget to check out my new YouTube channel. The link to the channel is in the description box below. If you guys want to participate in the next group reading on January 5th, 2020, please join Patreon, because that's where the Zoom link will be. Yeah, I think I said everything. All right, guys, I'll see you later.